Good morning. Welcome to Bay Area Unitarian Universalist Church. I'm Reverend Katie McQuage-Loukas, and my pronouns are she and hers. Welcome. Whoever you are, whomever you love, and however you arrived to this place today in your body, in your mind, in your spirit, whether you're here in this room in person, whether you're joining us online, wherever you are on your spiritual journey, you are welcome here. If this is your first time, you are welcome here. If this is your 500th time, you are welcome here. We are glad that you are here, and we are glad to be here together. I have opening words this morning from John Saxon. Listen, can you hear it? The Spirit is calling. It calls us in the silence and through the noise and busyness of our daily lives. It calls us in the brightness of the day and the darkness of the night, in times of hope and despair. Listen. Can you hear it? The Spirit is calling. It doesn't matter what you call it, for it has no name and many different names. The Spirit of life, the Spirit of love, the Spirit of compassion, the Spirit of hope, the Spirit of justice. Listen. Can you hear it? The Spirit is calling. It's calling to you and to me. It's calling us to greater wholeness, greater connection, greater service, greater love. It's calling us to heal the brokenness within ourselves, in others, and in the world. It is calling us to live more deeply. It is calling us to beauty. It is calling us to laugh and dance and sing. It's calling us to live through life's pain and sorrow. It's calling us to live courageously and kindly, to speak our truth in love, and to bend the moral arc of the universe toward justice. It's calling us into community. It's calling us into the greater life of all. Listen. Can you hear it? The Spirit is calling.
Good morning. I'm Verva Densmore, and I will be your worship associate this morning. And I apologize for my croaky voice. You know, it's not fair. Houston has all this humidity. You can't go outside. It gets beautiful outside, and the allergies come. So, but good morning again. And Marlis will light our chalice this morning. In the darkness, we light a candle of hope. In pain, we light a candle of forgiveness. In loneliness, we light a candle of warmth. In gratitude, we light a candle of thanks. In wonder, we light a candle of praise. And our separate lights become one, that we may be nourished by its glow. Thank you, Marlis. Please rise in body or in spirit for our opening hymn, number 128, For All That Is Our Life. As we get ready to say the words of our covenant, I want to share a short reading by Dorothy Day. I think it reminds us about the true meaning of our covenant. She says, "People say, what is the sense of our small effort? They cannot see that we must lay one brick at a time, take one step at a time. A pebble cast into a pond causes ripples that spread in all directions. Each one of our thoughts, our words, our deeds are like that. No one has the right to sit down and feel hopeless. There's too much work to do. And it's work that we will do together in covenantal relationship." Please join me now in saying our covenant. Love is the doctrine of this church. The quest of truth is a sacrament, and service is its prayer. To dwell together in peace, to seek knowledge and freedom, to serve humanity in fellowship. Thus do we covenant with one another.
Our unison reading this morning is number 482 in the gray hymnal. Number 482. It is a meditation from the Reverend Jacob Trapp. Please join with me. If it is language that makes us human, one half of language is to listen. Silence can exist without speech, but speech cannot live without silence. Listen to the speech of others. Listen even more to their silence. To pray is to listen to the revelations of nature, to the meaning of events. To listen to music is to listen also to silence, and to find the stillness deepened and enriched.
Good morning. My name is Gloria Miller, and I'm the Director of Religious Education. My pronouns are she, her. Our tale for all ages today is The Rabbit Listened by Corey Dorfeld. One day, Taylor decided to build something new, something special, something amazing. Taylor was so proud. But then, out of nowhere, the ravens came and things came crashing down. The chicken was the first to notice. Cluck, cluck, what a shame. I am so sorry this happened. Let's talk about it, cluck, cluck. But Taylor didn't feel like talking, so the chicken left. Next came the bear. Roar, how horrible. I bet you feel so angry. Let's shout about it. Roar. But Taylor didn't feel like shouting, so the bear left. Well, the elephant knew just what to do. Trumpta, I can fix this. We just need to remember exactly the way things were. But Taylor didn't feel like remembering, so the elephant also left. One by one they came. The hyena, let's laugh about it. The ostrich, let's hide and pretend nothing happened. The kangaroo, what a mess. Let's just throw it all away. And the snake, shh, let's go knock down someone else's. But Taylor didn't feel like doing anything with anybody. And so eventually they all left, until Taylor was all alone. And in the quiet, Taylor didn't even notice the rabbit, but it moved closer and closer until Taylor could feel its warm body. And together they sat in silence until Taylor said, "Please stay with me." The rabbit listened. The rabbit listened as Taylor talked. The rabbit listened as Taylor shouted. The rabbit listened as Taylor remembered and laughed. The rabbit listened to Taylor's plans to hide, to throw everything away, to ruin things for someone else. And through it all, the rabbit never left. And when the time was right, the rabbit listened to Taylor's plans to build again. I can't wait, Taylor said. It's going to be amazing.
Zach will be our keeper of the flame today. Say it again? Zach's. I'm sorry. Do you know, I have a unique name too, and it's always mispronounced. I apologize to you.
Our community is made up of all of the things that we bring to it week after week, our hopes and our dreams and our worries and anxieties. And each week we light candles for these things, reminding ourselves that we share them with each other, that we are not the first to have sorrowed or rejoiced, and that we join with others in sharing and witnessing these moments in our lives. I begin with a white candle for peace this week, for all the places of the world for which we all collectively sorrow. This candle is our hope for a better world and our opportunity to remind ourselves and to commit ourselves to doing the work of bringing peace and to rebuild our own corner of the world as best we can. The white one. We also light our red candle of community, our candle of memory and of hope. We light it for all who are not here, for everyone watching online to know that we hold your prayers too. We light it for the past, the present, and the future of this church. Whatever you have brought through the door with you this week, whether it be joy, sorrow, or something in between, I invite you to bring it forward so that we can all share in it together. I remind you that whatever you have brought, you are not alone. We are with you in it. We witness it and we witness you. And if you would like a candle brought to you, please raise your hand. And we have already lit what has been the final candle historically, but I would like to light one more for the election workers, because early voting is starting, and those are some hard jobs. They're hard jobs. And so one candle to hold them in our hearts in what may be a stressful season. And now will you please join me in a time of meditation? Let's take a moment to settle in to the here, to the now, and take a deep breath in and out again. Another deep breath in and out. And as you breathe, notice what it feels like in your body. Notice what it feels like to be in this space, in the seat that you are in, next to the people who are next to you, in and out. Attention. Pay attention. Pay attention to where you are right now. I mean, where you are. Where you are. And where you are. You are here in this community. In this sanctuary, in this state, in this country, on this beautiful blue planet, whirling through the tailspin of a galaxy. You are unique. You are made of cells and hormones. You are a mix of thoughts, emotions, values. You are the inheritors of your parents' and ancestors' dreaming. You are part of the human inhabitants on this earth. You are. You exist. You are breathing. You are still. You are connected. You are present. You have a holy spark inside you. You are here now. You are paying attention. And when you are ready to fully return to this place in this moment and to full attention, do so and take one last deep breath. Blessed be. I invite you now to join in our prayer in song. It's number 352, Find a Stillness. Please remain seated.
Our reading this morning is titled Compassionate Listening by Thich Nhat Hanh. Deep listening is the kind of listening that can help relieve the suffering of another person. You can call it compassionate listening. You listen with only one purpose, to help him or her empty their heart. Even if they say things that are full of wrong perceptions, full of bitterness, you're still capable of continuing to listen with compassion, because you know that listening like that, you give that person a chance to suffer less. If you want to help correct perceptions, you wait for another time. For now, you don't interrupt, you don't argue. If you do, they lose their chance. You listen with compassion, and you help them to suffer less. 1 hour like this can bring transformation and healing. Deep listening helps us to recognize the existence of wrong perceptions in the other person and wrong perceptions in ourselves. The other person has wrong perceptions about themselves and about us, and we have wrong perceptions about ourselves and about the other person. And that is the foundation for violence and conflict and war. Both sides are motivated by fear, by anger, and by wrong perception. But wrong perceptions cannot be removed by guns and bombs. They should be removed by deep listening, compassionate listening, and loving space.
My title for us this morning comes from Benedict of Nursia. And he was a Roman noble, and he ran away from the terrible, terrible sinfulness of the city to go become a hermit. And he lived alone for several years in the mountains in a cave on a lake. He became known locally for his holiness, so when the local monastery needed an abbot, they said, aha, let's go ask Benedict to come. And Benedict said, I don't know, I don't think it's a good cultural fit. I think we have very different vibes. I'm a hermit and I like monastic discipline. And they said, yes, that's why we want you. As it turns out, he was a rather harsh leader and they hated it and they tried to poison him. So he returned to his cave to be a hermit again. So the next time, people came to him, and they started setting up little tiny monasteries all around him and driving him a little bit crazy. And sure enough, a local leader got jealous and once again tried to poison him with, this is how we will solve our problems, and so he packed up and left. But this time he decided to establish his own community, one that people would know what they were getting into when they came to him. And he settled in Monte Cassino. And he put together a list of rules. And I'm sure these rules were developed after several years of fairly intense community conflict along the way. And the rule begins with listen. Attend with the ear of your heart. His instructions, the rule of Saint Benedict, that rule still guides Benedictine communities today. And it's a really interesting document. Of course, it's full of all the instructions of how to pray and when to pray, and also how to work, because there's work to be done in the community. It details all the way down to how often everyone ought to be doing work in the kitchen. It provides the distribution of goods according to needs and kindness. And there are instructions for how many times you have to take back the person who stormed off in a huff and left the monastery. It's 3 times. That's how many times you have to take them back. It includes ways to tell your boss that the job is too hard or too large. In the rule of St. Benedict, we find every item that could come up in the life of religious community. Who's in charge of what and how and why, and how the monks ought to relate to each other. And the whole thing begins with listen. Attend with the ear of your heart. I'm sure that the young Benedict learned a few things about the frailty of human nature with a few poisoning attempts along the way. And I think he learned a little bit about the balance between structure and also gentle, loving community. Compared to other religious communities within the Catholic tradition, the rule of Saint Benedict is known for its moderation. A great deal of attention is given to repairing relationship and also to making sure everyone has enough to eat, care for people who need extra support, making sure everyone has enough beer. And given how his initial community reacted to his strict and harsh personal discipline, I assume he spent a lot of time thinking about regular people, the kinds of people who aren't saints, and the kinds of things they needed to be able to live together in harmony and to grow in their capacity for being in relationship with one another. And again, that first piece of advice is just to listen. Listen with the ear of the heart. And it is, I think, human nature for us to not do that. It's so easy to simply be partially present in conversations, to listen for the high points, make sure you get the gist, or to prepare our own next remark. It's really easy to be in conversation to win instead of to connect. And that's just us being people. These are the things that people do. We show up to everything in our lives with multiple purposes, and sometimes we're relational and sometimes we're not. To live in community with others, to be one human being among many, we do need to bring our whole selves. We need to show up mentally into the conversation, but also with our hearts, to bring generosity of spirit and attentiveness to the needs of others. Partly because we know that one day we will need that in return, for someone to notice us, to pay attention to us as whole people, and perhaps offer us some generosity, but also because this is our stretching and our growing. And I think it's also important to remember that Benedict's advice is before we get to the list of rules. He doesn't want his people arguing like lawyers about interpretations and minutiae. He wants them to build a community, and he wants them to take care of each other. The rules aren't there as an excuse to push people out, but to call them back in. Even if someone has left, the community is obligated to try to take them back in and repair what has been broken. And there are limits and there are boundaries. You only get to leave so many times before they let you go. But the rules and boundaries are to be interpreted through the heart before they're interpreted through the mind. They're part of loving relationship, not a penal code. And that's kind of a big picture view of relationship and community life. But we also need to think about heart-centered connection in our one-to-ones, in our personal lives too. Because it's difficult, especially when it comes to really listening and paying attention to one another. In our busy and frenetic contemporary lives, I think we are often distracted, and I'm including myself in the we. We don't mean to not listen. But some part of my brain is perhaps thinking about the grocery list or the meeting I have tomorrow or rehashing yesterday's meeting, and we're multitasking and we're juggling our way through our lives. And it's so easy to just be partially present and partially engaged. And so often the people around us only get some percentage of our attention in the moment, and we only get some percentage of theirs. It's rare and it's notable when we encounter someone who truly gives us their full attention. And it's something else when it's not even just mental, but heart-centered attention too. At one point in my spiritual care training, an advisor asked our group to pick one day a week and abstain from reading. This was, of course, pure torture for me. I lived my life immersed in words, and I was in graduate school, so I also had to be immersed in words. And how was I supposed to go one entire day without picking up a book or reading the news or listening to a podcast, which she told us was cheating? And how are words a thing that I need to take a break from, a Sabbath from? What is the purpose of this act, and why do I have to do this? The answer, it turns out, is that making space for silence enabled my brain to rearrange all the words that were already in there, to slow down, to quiet down, and not entirely. My monkey brain is fairly intense, but I realized in that process how often I was reaching for words to distract myself, to fill up my mind with new things rather than dealing with the things already in there. And I was seeking a form of perpetual distraction and mental busyness. It turns out that not being mentally busy increases our capacity for attention to the moment we're actually in. If my brain isn't humming along full of this morning's news, all of the things happening somewhere else and somewhen else, it's a little bit easier for me to be here and now. And this small fast from wordiness highlighted other kinds of information, things that come in through other ways and other senses. Body language, spatial awareness, all of the little things, the ways we pick up on the emotions and experiences and the presence of others. These things are so often wordless. So when I am paying attention to the here and the now, I'm more capable of engaging on those multiple levels, intellectually and relationally, not just through words, but heart to heart. The other gift of that practice was a comfort level with silence. To simply be with another human being, not trying to make a point or problem solve. I'm a little bit of a fixer. Not trying to analyze everything the person has brought to the conversation, but simply pausing and being in it and receiving it. To take in what was said or unsaid, to feel it in the heart, not just in the mind. And then perhaps, if I discern it might be appropriate to respond, but from that place. And so this practice gave me an opportunity to strengthen that other way of listening, to attune the ear of the heart. And I think any spiritual practice, and most spiritual practices, that's what we're really doing. We're tuning our attention in a variety of ways, different for all of us, but this was the one I needed, and the one that has stuck with me. As someone who is more comfortable with words than with silence, just as a matter of temperament, and someone who's more comfortable historically with ideas than with feelings, this was the stretchy growth for me. There are so few places in our lives where we can really speak from our hearts and listen with our hearts. And I don't think that many of us are prepared by the world we live in to be ready to be those people, those recipients from that heart-centered place. As a society, Americans, we're not great at this. We're good at debate. We're good at problem solving. We're fixers, we have our technical solutions, and we will gladly share them with you because we do care and we do want to make it better. But I think it's hard for us to stop, to pause, to simply be. And we don't want to open those tender hearts because they're vulnerable in a way that our technical problem-solving minds might not be. And I really am including myself in this we. This isn't just human nature, though it is. It's also very much something I experience. And I think church is one of those places for so many of us. And we need it in a lot of different ways and in a lot of different aspects of our lives. But churches are the places that are supposed to take you back at least 3 times. And churches are places that are designed, we are built for heart-to-heart connection. And we're not the greatest at it all the time because we are human beings and we are the culture we bring into this space. And sometimes we're bad with boundaries, and sometimes we don't want to cope with conflict because we really want to be happy here together. Churches are, after all, us, people, doing our best. But churches are places where we can practice being present in ways that we can't in other parts of our lives. Our jobs, our homes, especially our very full homes with a lot of things happening and people and children and noise. How much room is there in other places in our lives to do that slowing down and that pause and that silence and to be fully present with our beloveds, or even our less than beloveds? I am so grateful for the places in my life I have found that were practice spaces in this way. And I hope that folks here have found or will find those opportunities here, because we need it so badly. In this time of intense political polarization, amid a frequently discussed loneliness epidemic, amid uncertainty and instability and the trauma that still lingers from our COVID experiences, we are all of us seeking connection, seeking to be heard and understood, and seeking to understand others. We need to know that we belong somewhere and that we are not alone. And this is always true. This is a deep human need, but it feels especially urgent and tender in these times, like a sore spot we keep bumping. And in a perfect world, this is the thing we as Unitarian Universalists can offer. We are a people of covenant. We have opportunities to talk about how we want to be together. We have opportunities to practice and to learn to connect heart to heart. We have the chance to glimpse the possibilities of beloved community whenever we build our small CE communities. We have in these places opportunities to be together and to be in relationship without quantifying those relationships. We're not bosses and employees, we're not political opponents, we're not extended and entangled family dynamics, we're just us in this place, person to person. At our best, we can carry this out into the world around us, and we can bring those practices into those more complicated places, into work and into politics and into family. And it's not 100% mandatory. We don't have to be doormats about it. We can have boundaries. St. Benedict only took people back 3 times, and he was a saint. But with some practice, I do truly believe that we in our churches can make these spaces for people to bring their full selves. Even when we are not perhaps enamored of those full selves or our own full selves, we can open ourselves to compassionate listening, to receptivity, and to making spaces to open up possibilities of relationship. When we Unitarian Universalists aspire to live in this place of love and compassion, let us remember that it is a practice. That even if it doesn't come naturally to us, we can stretch, we can grow into it. And may we prepare ourselves to take it out into the world so that we can bear not only the intellectual light of our chalice, but also its comforting warmth. Amen, and may it be so. At this moment, let us take a pause for gratitude. For gratitude for our own abundance, whatever that might look like for us. And then let us transform that gratitude into generosity. This is the time of our offering, the funds that support the work of this community here in this building and in the walls beyond. Please give as generously as you are able.
Please join me now in saying the words printed in your order of service. This gift from the abundance of my life blesses me, our ministries, and the world. Now, get ready to discover new ways to get involved, connect, and make a difference. Here are the announcements for the week. Join us for Wednesday night dinner in Cockrell Hall, October 23rd, 5:45 to 7, and enjoy a delicious stir-fry dinner of chicken or veggie, rice, salad, and desserts. We'll have something for everyone: kid-friendly dishes, carnivore options, vegetarian and vegan. Finish time at 6:30 and stay for Vespers, or just take extra time at the table and connect with company and conversation. We'd love to see you there. This Friday, October 25th, join us for a night of sacred music and contemplative prayer at the Sisters of Charity of the Incarnate Word. Carpool from church at 5:40 or meet us there at 7:10. To carpool, email childcare@bauuc.org. This event is open to all for spiritual reflection and community. You can find more details in the order of service or your weekly news blast. Calling all youth and young adults, get ready for a spooktacular night. Wear your coolest costume and bring your favorite game to our Halloween bash on Saturday, October 26th from 7 to 9 in the youth room. Enjoy pizza, snacks, and drinks. Don't forget to let the office know if you have allergies. Example, I have newt. Got questions? Call 281-488-2001. We can't wait to see you there. Also this Saturday, October 26th, we're excited to announce that we will be celebrating the end of October with a house party hosted by Deb and Dan Bly. Join us from 7 to 11 for a fun-filled gathering both indoors and outdoors, weather permitting. Enjoy music, food, drinks, great conversation, and a whole lot of celebration. Please note that this is an adult party, and it is BYOB. Don't forget to bring a snack to share. You can find out the details in the order of service insert or the Tuesday News Blast. Next Sunday after the service, join us for a day filled with fun, food, music, and games, and rich traditions of Dia de los Muertos. Enjoy homemade Hispanic and Native American dishes that will delight your taste buds. Bring the kids to meet Pancho Claus, who's backed by popular demand, and a culture moment with festival photo, and capture the moment with a photo. Our games are both fun and educational, and Dia de los Muertos attire and face paint are warmly welcomed. Plus, you can win a Dia de los Muertos Barbie doll and more. The event kicks off after the service in Cockrell Hall, and the tickets are $15 for adults, but kids under 12 get in for free, so it's a great deal. Don't miss out. Okay, you might have noticed there's a bloodmobile in the parking lot. There are still a few spots if you want to sign up. Last I heard there were 5 spots this afternoon that are still available. Be a hero to a person in need. The special gift of your blood and less than an hour of your time can save the lives of 3 people. And while you're resting up from giving blood, be sure to join for a ministry team fair. Everyone is welcome, especially our new and visiting members. This is a fun and interactive opportunity to explore the different ministry teams that make our church community thrive. Each ministry team will have its own table. It says booth, but it's really a table. And with exciting displays, friendly representatives, and information on the awesome events and activities they plan throughout the year. And finally, here at BAUUC, we understand the importance of staying connected with the community. That's why we offer that weekly news blast every Tuesday, and with news and events. So don't miss out. sign up at BAUUC.org or use the QR code on the screen and get that information into your email box. And just a note, Paula Criswell has been doing that newsletter on Tuesdays for years and years, and she would love a support person, somebody who can do it 1 or even 2 times a month. She doesn't need somebody to take over. But if you have some computer skills and that's something you'd like to help with, contact Paula Criswell or Charlene and let them know that you're interested. I know you'll be appreciated. Now, please rise in body or spirit for our closing hymn, number 112, Do You Hear?
Let us be bearers not only of light, but also of warmth this week in every aspect of our lives. Go in peace and blessed be.
Oh, thanks, Kelly. So much. Oh, well. Professional.